Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Soul Land 2 episode number 125 based on novel. So let's start. Yes, count me unlucky. When I was young, my father was the one who taught me soul engineering skills. In my entire lineage, there has always only been one son in every generation. We are like a sect, but we don't have the depth of a sect. My father always believed that he could teach me with everything that he had. Thus he didn't send me to a basic soul engineering academy. However, he passed away for some unknown reason when I was 14, and I had just become a Class 3 soul engineer. When we found him, even his internal organs had disappeared. He had died tragically. My father was also very protective of his wealth. He was very worried no matter where he kept his valuables, and usually kept them with him in his storage-type soul tool. Once he died, my family went bankrupt. My mother passed away early. We originally had a few servants, but they left since I couldn't pay them. Very soon, I became an orphan that lived by myself. Gao Delu sounded very calm. However, the expression on his face revealed that his heart was already dead. After that, I had to give up on my cultivation in order to make a living for myself. I found some chores in the city. Originally, I was a soul engineer, and finding a job wasn't very difficult. However, I would be cursed every time I suggested that my employer offer me some rare metals for my cultivation. As I was helpless, I could only do some chores that were beyond what I could handle. I earned some money to sustain myself. At the same time, I cultivated using my father's manual. After more than a decade, I managed to reach the level of a Class 5 soul engineer. However, I'm broke now. At my level, I can't experiment without sufficient rare metals, and I can't produce better soul tools either. Hua Yuhao was confused after he heard Gao Delu's recounting of events. It was his first time hearing a Class 5 soul engineer being restricted by poverty. Even though he had other ideas in mind, he couldn't help but ask, "Brother Gao, didn't your soul tools become finished products? With your abilities, you should be able to sell your finished soul tools for decent prices even if the materials are slightly inferior. They should then be enough to fund your cultivation. Since when did soul engineers lack money?" Gao Delu looked a little embarrassed. Honestly speaking, I'm not afraid that you'll mock me. My entire family has a bad habit. We are stingy. I inherited my father's stinginess. I can't bear to sell the soul tools that I've created. They are the products of my hard work. He coughed twice as he finished. Hua Yuhao's lips moved a little. He was a little empathetic after hearing Gao Delu's tragic life story. However, he realized that there wasn't any tragic story that had no reason in this world after hearing about Gao Delu's stinginess. Gao Delu's poverty was caused by himself. What a stingy soul engineer. After pausing for a moment, Hua Yuhao asked, "What do you plan to do from now on?" Gao Delu sighed and said, "What else do you want me to do? I'm a Class 5 soul engineer now. I'm different from before. Maybe I'll find a sect and see if I can get some rare metals to practice with." "Brother, I believe you're at least a Class 5 soul engineer judging from your abilities to create soul tools. Your technique is also quite conventional and orthodox. You should be from a sect. Why not introduce me to your sect? I've no other requests, I just need sufficient materials. If I get to keep all my soul tools, I'm willing to even sell my life to the sect." Hua Yuhao looked at him deeply and said to Wang Donga, "Xiao Dong, tell the waiter that we don't need the liquor anymore. Let's go." "Yes." Wang Donga acknowledged his words and tried to hold in her laughter as she walked away. She knew that Hua Yuhao was about to con someone again. However, Gao Delu didn't look very pitiful. He was actually very scheming. No, don't go. Brother, we haven't had a drink yet. Even if they might blacklist you, they won't serve you bad liquor, considering your wealth," Gao Delu hurriedly said. At this point, the waiter had entered and there was a bottle of pink liquor on a tray in his hand. There were also 3 liquor glasses and a bucket of ice. "Sir, your liquor is here. Do you want me to open it for you?" the waiter asked Hua Yuhao. Hua Yuhao turned to look at Gao Delu. Gao Delu said, Open, of course you should open it. Hurry up." As he spoke, he was already swallowing visibly. Hua Yuhao smiled and said, "Brother Gao, liquor will make our hands numb. Overdrinking might even cause them to tremble and affect our state. You must watch out." Gao Delu was completely unbothered. No worries. We can do it occasionally." The waiter opened the bottle without any hesitation. He added 3 ice cubes to each glass before pouring the liquor into each glass. After that, he respectfully left. Gao Delu lifted the glass in front of him and took a sip. His face became rapturously intoxicated. "Good liquor, this is good liquor. I've not had such great rose liquor in some time. It's delicious. Brother, quickly take a sip." As he spoke, he quickly filled his glass again. Hua Yuhao lifted his glass and gently took a sip. The liquor was indeed quite good. A light rose scent entered his throat along with the liquor itself. The scent seemed to evaporate naturally. Very quickly, it diffused through his body. A warm aura also slowly spread out and made him feel extremely comfortable. What left Hua Yuhao stunned was that the chill in his body from the origin energy of ultimate ice also dropped after he took a sip of the drink. Was the alcohol able to help him absorb the origin energy of his ultimate ice? With this thought, he completely downed the glass of liquor. Hua Yuhao was completely stunned at the result. The warmth from the alcohol suddenly increased greatly. He felt the flow of his blood getting stronger and stronger. The warmth followed his passageways and rushed towards his left arm and lower limbs. Although it was still inferior compared to the origin energy of ultimate ice, this gush of warmth still neutralized some of the origin energy. It also fused with his blood and soul power. This works. Hua Yuhao didn't know whether to laugh or cry at this moment. Jiao Delu was watching Hua Yuhao as he sipped on his liquor. When he realized Hua Yuhao's expression was changing very weirdly, he was shocked. Although this rose liquor wasn't cheap, he didn't have to feel so much pain buying it. "Brother Tang, are you okay?" Jiao Delu asked carefully. Hua Yuhao shook his head. He had originally wanted to draw Jiao Delu into the Tang sect, but he realized that Jiao Delu was actually very cunning, even though he seemed very honest. In addition, he was now much less interested in him as he faced this unexpected surprise. "Donga, call the waiter over." As he was agitated, Hua Yuhao even forgot that he wasn't supposed to refer to her that way. Although Wang Donga didn't know why he was suddenly so excited, she still quickly called the waiter over. "Sir, what instructions do you have?" the waiter asked respectfully. Hua Yuhao said, "Go get me every type of liquor you have here." "What? Every type?" "Sir, we have more than 100 types of liquor, even though our establishment isn't that large. We already have 40 different types of wine, and..." "Okay, go quickly then." As he spoke, Hua Yuhao threw his entire bag of money over. The waiter was shocked, but a flash of greed crossed his face as he received the bag of cash. He followed with, yes, I'll go now. Please wait for me. More than 100 types of liquor. How much would that cost?" Not only was Jiao Delu astonished, even Wang Donga didn't understand what Hua Yuhao was doing. Hua Yuhao poured himself another glass of the rose liquor. Indeed so. Hua Yuhao was evidently extremely excited. After that, he twisted his head to look at Jiao Delu. "Brother Jiao, you can leave first if you have nothing going on. I suddenly remembered I have something important to deal with." "Your important thing is drinking, am I right?" "Brother, how can you be without a buddy when you are drinking?" "I can't do anything else, but I can be a top-notch drinking buddy." Jiao Delu couldn't give up this opportunity to taste so many delicious liquors. He quickly presented himself to Hua Yuhao. Hua Yuhao shook his head and replied, "Did you not hear that I only requested a glass of every type of liquor for myself? I didn't get any for you." Jiao Delu turned pale. There were more than 100 types of liquor. How would it feel to drink and compare them? He had never tried it before. It should feel very magical. However, he was being chased away. Jiao Delu only had 2 hobbies. One was to become a strong soul engineer. The other was to drink. "Brother, I take back what I said earlier. Let's see if this works. I can join your sect. As long as you provide me with materials, the soul tools that I create will belong to the sect. However, please give me at least some money to buy wine. It's best if I can even find a wife. I'll follow you if you agree to this." Hua Yuhao was stunned. He hadn't expected Jiao Delu to misunderstand his actions. He had actually lowered his own asking price of his own accord. What was going on? He hadn't expected Jiao Delu to treat him as a confidant. It was easy to find friends, but not drinking buddies. Jiao Delu was completely convinced after seeing Hua Yuhao ask for more than 100 types of liquor in one shot. He was imagining the amount of liquor he could drink every day if he followed Hua Yuhao. Why would he need soul tools then? "Alright, that's great. I'll give you a 50% cut for every soul tool you create. We'll come up with the materials. You just need to create the soul tools. In addition, I think you've also witnessed my special method of creating soul tools. You'll be able to learn such a method once you join our sect." Jiao Delu's eyes brightened, and he replied, Of course. "Brother Tang, the liquor." Hua Yuhao waved his hand generously and said, "Little Dong, get the waiter to add one more complete set." Jiao Delu licked his chapped lips and gave him a thumbs up. Awesome. Very soon, the table was filled with rows of liquor glasses. "Brother Tang, let's drink." "Cheers. Delu, let's toast once more." "Oh, this liquor isn't bad. It's strong enough." "Great. Fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. I've never enjoyed liquor like this." "Brother Tang, did you notice that the liquors made from wheat are quite light, while those made from grapes contain the lightness of grapes even though they are hard liquors? I feel very pleasant drinking them." "Oh, this liquor has the taste of plums. It even tastes a little smoked." It's quite special. Cheers. Let's go. Shit. Wang Donga was stunned as she watched from the side. These two drunkards didn't stop at all. They kept on downing glass after glass of liquor. It was her first time seeing Hu Yuhao drinking like this, so she was shocked. At the start, Wang Donga thought Hu Yuhao was doing this to tempt Jiao Delu. Jiao Delu was basically bought over by the liquor. However, Wang Donga noticed something was wrong. Jiao Delu had already been swindled. Why did Yuhao have to continue drinking with him? In a short span of time, both of them had already drank more than 30 glasses of liquor. There was another person who was even more shocked than Wang Donga, the waiter who had delivered the liquor. There were more than 100 types of liquor. Since Hu Yuhao had ordered 2 complete sets of liquor, there were more than 200 glasses of liquor. The table couldn't fit all the glasses. Once the glasses were empty, they were immediately replaced by more glasses of different liquors. At the start, the waiter thought Hu Yuhao was trying to put on airs, and he would at most taste a few types of liquor. However, he saw the two of them downing more than 30 glasses on their own as time passed. More than half of them were hard liquors. If they were ordinary people, they would have been completely drunk by now. However, the two of them seemed like nothing had happened. Even though every glass of liquor had been diluted by ice cubes, they must have consumed more than a liter of hard liquor each after 30 glasses. You, master, stop drinking. Wang Donga almost addressed him incorrectly in her anxiety. She lifted her hand to grab the liquor glass from Hu Yuhao's hand. Hu Yuhao deftly dodged and avoided her hand. He shot a look at her. As he thought of something, he used his spiritual detection to tell her what he was thinking. Wang Donga's body stiffened up. After that, her eyes revealed an indescribable look of ecstasy. Hu Yuhao gently nodded. That's great. Continue. You're in a wheelchair anyway. I can push you back anytime. Why was Hu Yuhao drinking so much? He wanted to test whether each type of liquor had an effect on fusing his origin energy of ultimate ice, or if it was only just the rose liquor. If every type of liquor could do the same thing, it must mean that liquor was very effective for him. His conclusion was that liquor was very effective. However, the effect didn't depend on the value of the liquor, but its strength. The stronger the liquor, the better it was. Every glass of hard liquor was like a catalyst. The origin energy in his body was increasingly being digested by Hu Yuhao's soul power. For someone who had 3 immovable limbs, this was like a delicacy. Furthermore, Hu Yuhao remained clear-headed, as all the alcohol was being used to fuse with his origin energy. He was also getting more and more excited. He could easily last for 300 glasses without getting drunk. Hu Yuhao was amused that Jiao Delu's tolerance level was actually very impressive. He didn't feel any soul power undulations from his body. Jiao Delu was just drinking normally. His eyes brightened the more he drank, just like Hu Yuhao. He was getting more and more clear-headed as he drank. Great liquor. This is really great liquor. I haven't felt so happy in a long time. No, I've never felt so happy before. Today, I finally understand what it means when people say 1,000 glasses of liquor is too little when drinking with a confidant. Brother Tang, I'm very grateful to have met you. After drinking his 50th glass, Jiao Delu was finally getting a little dizzy. However, the excitement in his eyes only grew. Brother Tang, I'll follow you in the future. I can get liquor when I'm with you. I don't even want the percentage cut. I'm fine with just liquor. What do you think? Hu Yuhao chortled and replied, this isn't much for me. In fact, I even know a sommelier. He's a true fanatic for delicious liquor. If you meet him, you'll really know what it is to have a drinking buddy. Jiao Delu was stunned. Is that so? Is there actually someone who can drink better than you? Hu Yuhao answered, I don't know how much he can drink, but I've never seen him without his liquor ever since I met him. You can find him whenever you want to try. I'm sure he'll be happy. Don't worry, this liquor god lives very close to my sect. All right. Drink, come on, Brother Tang, let's drink. I'll follow you and the liquor god in the future. Jiao Delu was finally getting drunk. Such a drunkard would never be willing to activate his soul power to neutralize the alcohol in his body. He couldn't bear to. It was important to bear in mind that Jiao Delu was a very stingy person. Brother Tang, didn't you want to know the special characteristic of my soul tool? Since we are going to be in the same sect, I think it's fine to tell you. The soul tool that I carry around me has a special characteristic called blood coagulating. It's an added component to my blood coagulating carving knife. It's impressive, isn't it? It's fine even if I tell you. That's because only a descendant of my blood lineage can use this carving knife. I need to use my fresh blood to use this knife every time. Otherwise, it would have been stolen by many people already. Fortunately, the carving knife can only be used by a descendant of my family. Although its ranking is a little low because of my weak cultivation, it's the only valuable that my father left me. If anyone else could use it, my hemagglutination carving knife might even make it to the top 30 carving knives. Hua Yuhao was silently shocked after hearing Jiao Dailu's words. It was a carving knife equal to one of the top 30 top-notch carving knives. No wonder it was so strong. Even the shockwaves generated by the shock cannon were so strong because of the meticulous carvings made by this knife. After 3 more glasses, Jiao Dailu couldn't take it anymore, and collapsed onto the table. Hua Yuhao drank 2 more glasses on his own before smiling slightly. He turned to Wang Donga and said, "My dear, I need to pee." Wang Donga was speechless. "Can't you use it for your cultivation?" Hua Yuhao laughed bitterly. "I used alcohol, not water. You are in a guy's attire anyway. What are you scared of? Send me to the toilet. Otherwise, I'm going to pee my pants." Wang Donga's face turned red. Although she had seen Hua Yuhao's body before, she had never done anything like this before. She started stammering, "Why don't we go home, and you can?" Hua Yuhao replied, "I can't hold it in anymore. Aren't you afraid that I'll look at someone else? My eyes will be dirted." Wang Donga finally found an excuse. "That's true. You can send me to the door. I can go in and settle everything myself." Hua Yuhao changed his words after teasing her. Over these past few days, he had felt tortured as Wang Donga regained her sense of self. A lot of his extra welfare had ceased to exist. Since he could only move his right hand, he was helpless against her. After returning from the washroom, Hua Yuhao continued to drink. The waiter thought that they were going to stop, seeing that Jiao Dailu had already passed out. However, Hua Yuhao was still drinking. He stopped drinking the cheap liquors and started to drink the high-end liquors. He only called the waiter in after he had finished all the hard liquor. "Sir, what instructions do you have?" The waiter looked in Hua Yuhao's eyes and felt like he had seen a 10,000-year soul beast. This young man was unbelievable. Hua Yuhao leisurely said, "You've seen my tolerance level. All these liquors can't satisfy me. Is there anything even stronger?" The waiter suddenly thought of something, and his eyes brightened. He said, "We still have some distillate here. Do you want some?" "Distillate? What's that?" Hua Yuhao was completely clueless about liquors. The waiter replied softly, "Hard liquors are distilled beverages. Apart from some special cases, most hard liquors are purified distillates that have been blended and mixed with different flavors. After that, they are sold to the general public. This is a secret. I'm only telling you because you have a lot of gold soul coins." Hua Yuhao wasn't moved as he asked, "How strong is the distillate?" The waiter chuckled and replied, "It's twice as strong as the strongest liquor that you've drank so far." Hua Yuhao's heart twitched a little, and thought to himself, "Aren't you telling me that the liquors here have been diluted with water and other stuff? Give me some to try first." "Alright, wait a minute. However, the price of the distillate." Hua Yuhao revealed a slightly furious expression. "Since when is money a problem? Tell your boss, as long as the stuff is good, I want it long term. As long as you have it, I'll take everything. In my manor, I have an underground wine cellar that's 10,000 square meters." "What? A 10,000 square meter wine cellar? It's unheard of. How rich must he be?" "This is the break boss needs to get rich." When the waiter returned, he brought along a shrewd-looking elder who seemed around 60 years old. Distillate was almost pure alcohol. It could easily be used to light a fire. However, it was extremely good for Hua Yuhao, since it contained no impurities. He immediately made a high bid for all the distillate in the bar, and even pre-ordered another batch. They left Jiao Dailu in the bar. Hua Yuhao left him a note to set their next meeting. The bar would naturally take good care of him, since he was a friend of their newfound rich client. Hua Yuhao had already controlled himself. He didn't steal Jiao Dailu's carving knife. Hua Yuhao and Wang Donga returned to the Mingyu Hotel with more than 100 kilos of distillate, but he didn't drink it right away. After he returned, he immediately entered a cultivation state as he laid down flat. He activated all his soul power and cultivated the impurities and remaining alcohol within the liquor. The Continental Elite Youth Soul Master Tournament had reached the round-robin stage, and the Tang sect finally caught a breather after facing 2 consecutive tough opponents. They defeated the next 4 opponents they faced easily. With their immense abilities, they managed to make their way to the top of their group after winning 6 out of 6 matches. They had 1 foot in the quarterfinal. Besides the Tang sect, there was another team in their group that won all their matches. Shrek's team. In the first 5 matches of this round-robin stage, they had snatched easy victories. Under Wang Choa's leadership, and with their extraordinary abilities, they managed to overcome the Clearjade sect, too. It was also on that same day that the team and vice-team leaders, Kane and Xuebing, were unfrozen. However, the Tang sect didn't know that Kane disappeared after the Clearjade sect was eliminated from the tournament. The Tang sect didn't depart the venue after they easily won their 6th match. They sat in the VIP resting area, all of them with serious expressions on their faces. The next match was the clash of the day. The most established 2 teams in the history of the tournament were about to fight against one another. On one side was the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy, who had won 4 out of their first 5 matches under Xiao Hongchen and Meng Hongchen's leadership. On the other side was Shrek, led by Wang Chua. For both parties, this fight wasn't just about the qualifications for the next round. It was a life and death battle, a battle of glory. The enmity between both academies was simply too deep. In this round-robin stage, the Sun Moon team had already lost to the Tang sect. If they lost again, Shrek would advance with the Tang sect into the quarterfinals. If they won, the Tang sect and Shrek Academy would face off in the next match. The Tang sect and the Sun Moon team would advance if the Tang sect won. If the Tang sect lost, all 3 teams would be tied on the number of wins, and points would be used to calculate which 2 teams would advance. While the Tang sect had maintained a 100% record so far, their points weren't very high because they kept on preparing themselves for the team fights. The point difference between Shrek's team and the Sun Moon team was almost negligible, and the gap might be widened in this match. The Sun Moon team had no other way out, they had to win this match. If they won, they could ensure their spot in the quarterfinals as long as they achieved a huge victory in the last match. The Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy wanted the Tang sect and Shrek's team to fight one another for the other spot. It was the same situation for Shrek Academy. As long as they defeated the Sun Moon team, they would definitely qualify with 6 victories in the bag. Whether they were going to be the winner or runners-up of their group would depend on their last match with the Tang sect. Wang Chua slowly stood up. She didn't walk towards the waiting area. Instead, she turned around and looked at her teammates. "Do all of you remember what I mentioned yesterday?" she asked. Yes. All of Shrek's team members acknowledged her words. They sounded very excited, and the rest of the teams in the waiting area were drawn to them. Not only were the spectators monitoring this match, even the rest of the teams were watching this match very closely. Shrek's reputation was too well established. The reputations of both academies meant that this face-off between both teams was bound to be an extremely intense one. Dai Huabin was closest to Wang Chua. Right now, his eyes were burning as he looked at her. It was as if she were his idol. His enthusiasm was bordering on fanaticism. It wasn't just him. Everyone from Shrek recalled what Wang Chua had said yesterday. "Tomorrow, we are going to face the Sun Moon team. Do all of you know why the Tang sect gave up against them in the earlier round, but fought them in the first match of the round-robin stage? Let me tell you. It's because the Tang sect was afraid that we would lose. They did their best to weaken the Sun Moon team and give us a greater chance. Tell me, do we need them to create this fighting chance for us? We came here for Shrek's glory. If not for the fact that Shrek's 7 monsters are representing the Tang sect, we would only be substitute. During the last tournament, I wasn't even at Shrek Academy yet, but I heard of their performance. They were only substitutes then. What happened? They brought back the title. Let me ask all of you, do all of you have the heart of a champion? We are members of Shrek, the glory of Shrek, and the radiance of Shrek. Our advancement will not arise because of anyone's help, but our own abilities. Tomorrow, I'll tear the skin off whoever dares to look down on us. Do all of you understand? We are not only going to show the Sun Moon team why we are strong, we are also going to show the Tang sect that they can't underestimate us. Let's show them that we are champion material. We'll win tomorrow's fight. Shrek will win." Wang Chua's wild words were still ringing in the ears of every member of Shrek's team. Her voice, which inspired their passion and excitement, raised their fighting spirits to unprecedented levels. So what if it was the Sun Moon Soul Engineering Academy? So what if it was the Tang sect? They were representing Shrek Academy, a team that had never lost this tournament before. They were fighting for Shrek's glory. Right now, they could finally chant this slogan in front of everyone. Every time they thought of this, their auras would turn ferocious, and their fighting spirits were fired to the limit. Wang Chua saw the fire in everyone's eyes and nodded. She said evenly, "Follow me." After she finished speaking, she turned around and faced the stage. As she turned, her gaze met Huo Yuhao's. As their gazes met, Huo Yuhao saw the look of perseverance in her eyes as she led Shrek's team towards the stage. What left everyone from the Tang sect shocked was that Shrek's team didn't send out their standard 7 members to compete. They switched their personnel in such a crucial match. Wang Chua was in front, while Dai Huabin, Zhu Lu, Ning Tian, and Cao Jinxian followed behind. The last 2 weren't Xia Huanyue and Wu Feng. They were Lan Susu and Lan Luoluo. In terms of individual abilities, Lan Susu and Lan Luoluo were only some of the best in the outer courtyard of the academy. They only had 4 rings, and were only soul ancestors. They hadn't made it into the inner courtyard yet. But Wang Chua had chosen the 2 of them to compete in such an important match, and left out Wu Feng and Xia Huanyue, who were both in the inner courtyard. Huo Yuhao was more shocked that Wu Feng didn't pose any objections, even though she was such a proud character. He couldn't see any dissatisfaction from her. Impressive, Wang Chua. Huo Yuhao complimented her in his heart. He had to admit that Wang Chua's leadership skills were very strong. She was able to easily handle her bunch of tough and arrogant characters. He couldn't claim that he was at her level. On the other side, everyone from the Sun Moon team also entered the waiting area. Xiao Hongchen and Meng Hongchen looked very serious. To the two of them, this was also a life and death battle. Their clash against the Tang sect had left them depleted, and they now had no choice but to use their substitutes. Even though Xiao Hongchen and Meng Hongchen were very strong, the overall ability of the Sun Moon team had dropped. Very soon, both parties entered their respective waiting areas. The entire place also went silent. Xu Tianran had already arrived on the main stage. He was very excited for today's fight, too. Yesterday, he had personally gone to visit the Sun Moon team, and promised them heavy rewards if they won this match. If they could win this match, Xu Tianran promised them the title. In the quarterfinals, they wouldn't have to face the Tang sect. That was because the Tang sect could only face them in the final, and the Tang sect's next opponents included the Holy Ghost sect. Xu Tianran was indeed the one who had planned the Holy Ghost sect's participation in this tournament. However, the Holy Ghost sect was a sect of evil soul masters, formed by disciples of the Holy Ghost Church. It wouldn't be a good thing if they were allowed to win the tournament. The people would be extremely unhappy. The reason why the Holy Ghost sect was competing in this tournament was because they were here to deal with the Tang sect, Shrek Academy, and even the Body sect, who had yet to reveal themselves. Their main mission was to remove all obstacles for the Sun Moon team. Xu Tianran had personally explained this plan to Xiao Hongchen and Meng Hongchen. If they met the Holy Ghost sect in the finals, they would be the champions. Since his words were so obvious, it was very easy to tell what he was suggesting to the both of them. Both Hongchen siblings knew what Xu Tianran expected. Today's match was more important to them than the last tournament. After all, last time, they weren't the core of the Sun Moon team then, even though they had lost to Shrek's team in the finals. They weren't commanding their team, either. However, it was different this time. They were representing the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy, the illustrious Virtue Hall, their grandfather, and the entire empire. They couldn't afford to lose today's match. Xiao Hongchen sat down in the waiting area. Even though he knew that the current Shrek's team didn't consist of the best talents from Shrek Academy, he was still very nervous. Their performances had been only so, and they didn't really impress anyone that much. The only person worth taking notice of was their team leader. However, there weren't any Soul Emperors apart from her. Compared to the Tang sect, their abilities weren't that impressive. However, Xiao Hongchen's heart felt very heavy today for some reason. It was like how he felt when they faced the Tang sect. Don't tell me this team is able to threaten us. If we can't even beat a second-rate team, then... As he thought until here, Xiao Hongchen couldn't help but clench his fist. His fighting spirit soared. Elder brother, calm down, Meng Hongchen said to him. Okay. Xiao Hongchen took a look at his younger sister. This time, Wang Dong wasn't their competitor anymore. Meng Hongchen was indeed very normal. Younger sister, let's do our best today. We must win today. Meng Hongchen smiled. She was much more confident than Xiao Hongchen. Elder brother, this is only Shrek's second-string team. Don't worry, we'll win for sure. The resting area. Ever since Wang Chua had left, Hu Yuhao had started to ponder a lot. He suddenly raised his head and said, I understand now. Wang Donga was puzzled as she looked at him and asked, what do you understand? Hu Yuhao said, I know why Chua came up with this lineup. Brilliant. The Sun Moon team is definitely in trouble today. Wang Donga gently strangled him and said, can you not be so mysterious? Hu Yuhao chuckled and replied, if you let me kiss you, I'll reveal everything. Wang Donga rolled her eyes. It's fine if you don't want to tell me, but be careful tonight. Hu Yuhao snapped, what are you going to do tonight? You are not even accompanying me to sleep now. Don't tell me you are going to chase a cripple off the bed. Me. Wang Donga came up with a scheme and revealed a captivating smile on her face. If you can guess what I'm going to do, I'll sleep with you tonight. Really? Hu Yuhao was delighted. Of course not. Even if you don't tell me, I can watch and find out. Wang Donga's attitude suddenly changed completely, and Hu Yuhao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She was becoming more and more like a little witch. I regret this. Why did I let her regain her conscience? However, I kind of enjoy this feeling. Let's see. Wang Chua will be the first in the individual elimination round, Hu Yuhao said so softly that only Wang Donga and the rest of the people from the Tang sect could hear him. Wang Chua will be the first to fight. Everyone was confused. It didn't make sense. With Wang Chua's status as the team leader, she should be the one holding the fort. Just as they were full of doubts, Wang Chua had already leapt up onto the stage and walked towards the center. On the other side, a tall and large youth from the Sun Moon team also jumped up onto the stage. He hadn't appeared when they had fought Tang sect. Evidently, he was one of the substitutes. It's indeed Wang Chua. Yuhao, you are brilliant. Xiao Xiao couldn't help but exclaim. Xu Tianran had an epiphany, I understand too. In fact, Chua should be the first to fight. It wasn't just him who had realized what was going on. He Kaitu's eyes also had a look of revelation as he smiled. It was just that he didn't utter a sound at all. He Kaitu and Hu Yuhao were already among the top 6 in the underground tournament. In the next round, the top 3 would be decided. It was tonight. If they made the top 3, they could represent the Duskwater Alliance in the finals of the tournament between the 3 different organizations. They had earned quite a lot of money in the first few rounds of the tournament. It was a pity, however, that they had only obtained some rare metals. While they had several million gold soul coins, they were useless if they couldn't be used to purchase rare metals. Number 96 and 98 were also in the top 6. Huo Yuhao or He Kai-tu would face at least one of them. Huo Yuhao had met Jiao Delu again, but he hadn't revealed his true identity. He was making Jiao Delu wait patiently. Huo Yuhao would only bring him back after the tournament ended. He wouldn't be afraid to reveal his true identity then. Shrek's team versus the Sun Moon team. First fight of the individual elimination round. Both parties, please report your names. The referee for today was still the unbreakable Doluor. As he was very fair and left many competing teams satisfied, this titled Doluor and Class 9 Soul Engineer personally refereed some of the more important fights. Undoubtedly, there was no fight as important as the one between Shrek's team and the Sun Moon team. Zheng Zhon was also troubled as he looked at the members from both sides. He knew about the enmity between Shrek's team and the Sun Moon team. This was a life and death battle. Neither party could afford to lose this match. Shrek, Wang Chua. Wang Chua was still wearing a veil. Her powdery blue hair flowed behind her back. Although her appearance couldn't be seen, her large, beautiful eyes, as well as her captivating figure, still left a deep impression in everyone's minds. Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy, Yi Kan's Hang. While he was very tall and large, he didn't have much flesh on him. He gave everyone the impression that he was a bag of bones. There was even a weird sense of eeriness about him. Both parties, please step back and prepare for the match. Zheng Zhon instructed. He even skipped the part where he was supposed to ask both parties not to hurt the other party. He knew it was futile. Wang Chua turned around and walked to her position, and Yi Kan's Hang did the same. Wang Chua stood at her position and watched her opponent. She squinted, and revealed a dim, mysterious light in her eyes. Yi Kan's Hang was also staring at her. However, he was smirking. His mouth suddenly enlarged, and he grinned so widely that his lips almost reached his ears. He revealed white teeth and blood-red gums. It was an awful scene. If it was any ordinary lady, she would have screamed in fear. However, Wang Chua looked very calm. Zheng Zhon lifted his right hand up high and looked at both parties before shouting, "Match, start." Wang Chua immediately moved when Zheng Zhon announced the start of the fight. Everyone heard a muffled sound coming from the stage. The soundproofing barriers around the stage were unidirectional. The noises from outside couldn't be heard inside, but the noises from the inside could be heard on the outside. Wang Chua burst forward like a golden cannon shell as the muffled sound reverberated out. Wang Chua was very ferocious in the earlier rounds, but she hadn't gone too overboard. However, she revealed a different aura today. Yi Kan's Hang didn't delay either. 2 yellow and 3 purple soul rings rose from his feet. Following this, a black light flashed on his body. A black figure separated from his body and appeared in front of him. However, his soul rings were still on his body. It was a black skeleton with an eerie aura. It had the same figure as Yi Kan's Hang. As Yi Sanshang's first soul ring shone, the skeleton doubled in size. Its bones also became thicker. This was Yi Sanshang's martial soul, skeleton. It was a skeleton that used his body as a blueprint. It was a very special existence. As a soul engineer, he didn't need to lift any heavy weapons, he could just rely on his skeleton. That was why he could handle a much heavier weight in a fight, at least a few times greater than a normal soul engineer. This wasn't considered very useful for a soul master, but it was very practical for a soul engineer. However, his opponent today was Wang Chua. After Yi Kan's Hang unleashed his first soul skill, skeleton expansion, Wang Chua had already arrived in front of him. With the terrifying strength that Wang Chua possessed, she could easily slide 100 meters through the air. A huge golden fist hurtled toward Yi Sanshang's head. A dangerous gust of wind swept towards his face. Yi Kan's Hang only felt an uncomfortable feeling in his chest before golden lights shone brightly in front of him. What's this rhythm? It's too quick. Isn't she supposed to be an assault-type soul master? Why is she faster than an agility-type soul master? This video will end here. Thank you for watching.